from the fire service after 30 years, and I am a provisionally licensed professional counselor. And that journey kind of started out of my desire to connect in a way that I thought did not exist in the fire service. And after graduating school, I realized, well, really during school, I realized that I have the ability to take these very complex textbooks and ideologies of research and science and what the mind and the brain and the body is doing in a palatable, understandable way of metaphor or story that's relatable. I think the concepts can be very overwhelming and easily forgotten about because our overwhelmingly desire to be perfect or to have perfect execution. So, with all of that being said, my time in the fire service started like many others as a volunteer and at a very young age. And I was certainly born and bred into the fire service as a young man. And I, I love it. I love the fire service. And that has afforded me opportunities that really are unimaginable. Um, Certainly don't start off in the fire academy going, hey, when you retire, you're going to be a mental health counselor, or when you retire, you're going to do this. It really is the job 24/7. And ironically enough, my daughter is getting ready to start her senior year. And as I was reflecting back on her, achievements in school and those kinds of things, like I realized like every important family photo or first day of school, I was in uniform, right? Like there's not a time that something significant happened to where we captured that moment in photograph like I was not in uniform. And that has a pretty profound effect on people when you realize, like, if I were to die today, what would people know me or remember me as? It's not going to be the father. It's not going to be a husband. It's not going to be, educated. It's not even going to be for counseling or therapy or mental health. It's going to be for the fire service. And that's what I've been known for, you know, 30 years. So I love to travel with my wife and my family. Just got back from the Caribbean. Love to read, which is weird because I have a learning disability. My reading comprehension is virtually zero. So I get to read things multiple times before I kind of
You get
comprehend
to.
them.
That's
Yeah.
me. That's me.
So, yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. I started on this journey of mental health when one of my own firefighters came to me telling me that he was thinking about killing himself, and I didn't really know what to do with that. So I started researching and looking for education opportunities, training opportunities, and then kind of stumbled onto my own mental health issues. I didn't realize the things that I was doing um, was not healthy because that's all I'd ever known. And I jokingly say I didn't know I had a mental health issue until somebody told me because I thought it was normal to sleep 3 or 4 hours. I thought it was normal to drink copious amounts of alcohol and those kinds of things. So, yeah, that's kind of in a weird, lengthy side quest journey to go around the world about who I am and how I got here.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Well, it's interesting. Everybody has a story. That's what it was. Is that you had said about the learning disability thing? Because I wouldn't consider what I have a learning disability, but I definitely realized, like looking back, I didn't know how to study, and I also need a lot of repetition with anything. Like, it annoys me. Like, I've cried about it when I'm learning something, even self-defense techniques. And that's when I learned, I was like, wait a minute, isn't this just about beating ass? and I'm
Mm.
trying to remember 200 different things on which side of the body to use what. So I think I did that was one thing I wanted to prick your brain on. Maybe you have some tips. And definitely for firefighters out there when they're learning, or as paramedics or, EMTs, all that sort of stuff, any helpful tips you might have to give them. I'm sure you have something, right?
Yeah, I think the most helpful tip I have with paramedic is don't do it. I'm not a paramedic. I had enough older paramedics that kind of persuaded me, and it didn't take much. I didn't really have a desire to become a paramedic. I really just I had to become an EMT because that was what was required for the position. But I think for me, and this is going to be a little bit different for everybody, but we have some really easy canned answers in the fire service, really in emergency services. And that canned answer is, um, well, I don't take tests very well. That gets thrown out a lot. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much a good generality for almost everyone in life, right? No one
Mhm.
usually openly admits, I take tests really well. No, everyone usually says, I don't take tests very well. And I also use that example. And I also use the example of when I